Okay, so let's start on the sutta where we left. Okay, so what are we going to do next is that we are going to the third ground of refutation, or third ground on which this Amara Vikepavada comes into existence. So in the Amara Vikepavada, one thing we can notice is that the person does not know what is skillful and what is not skillful. That's a main ground. Okay. So all the bad deeds or all the good deeds, I don't know how to do it. When I should do what and how should I answer? Majorly, it is related to speech than anything else. Even we have the same confusion in life when we go to office, when we go outside with family and all of that. We have the same worry at what should I say? Is it safe to say this or is it safe to say that? How that person will react? Okay, so this is the eel rigging story. We were to say eel rigging, and this is where the eel rigging happens. Is because I want to see how to speak, how to approach. So what they do, the third case is that they have a fear that uh, they will be targeted. Okay, so that means targeted means if they find out that you don't know something, and then or you know something, and then you have to answer to them because they are smart people. Okay, let's take in this example, Aryu, when I and you used to discuss a lot on Discord. Okay, of those kind of situation, okay, there would be people who would make you feel inferior because they would say, you don't know, I know it, and you prove it. Tell me how this works. How tell me how that works. Ultimately, the person will say what you're saying is wrong. Or the person, or you're trying to convince him so much that you want to make him feel that what you're saying is right. So what he says is that Santi hi ko samana brahmana pandita nipuna kata paravapavada vale vala vedhi rupa te bindanta manye charanti panyagatena dittigatani. That means they already have wisdom. So they will then claim what I'm saying is wrong because they are going to grill me a lot. Samanu yunjeyum, samanu gaheyum, samanu bhaseyum. That means yunjati means one who inquires. Samanu gaheyum is one who questions. Samanu bhaseyum is one who says. If so, they are going to be asking me to prove it. So ye mama tata samanu yunjeyum, samanu gaheyum, samanu bhaseyum, tesaham na sampayayeyam. That means I will not be able to answer them properly. Meaning whatever they're asking, I can't justify. I can't say why it is like that. So yesaham na sampayeyum yeyam. So mamasa vighato. It is ghata means disturbance. Vighata means serious disturbance. Meaning I feel stressed out. I feel really worked up. So because of that, they will say, I don't know, I don't think so, I think it should be so, I think it might not be so, and like that. So neither he will say I deny it, nor he will say I am accepting to it. Okay. So this kind of verbal flip-flops is what we can see that is not able to stick to one thing. Why? because he fears that he might be targeted. Yep. Let's say another example on our Buddha Dhamma. Let's say somebody who has claims to have studied the Tipitaka, okay, and he has done or she has done PhD in Buddhism, and they come home and they have done PhD in Pali. Now, what would be the state of my mind? Just look at that. They're qualified, right? Now, when they are qualified, when they come home, they are going to say that this is not how Buddha says. What's your basis on which you say Buddha says in the sutta like this? So then I think, why should I get into so much of pain? And I would say that maybe what you're saying is right. You have some sense, but it also can be said in this way. So I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm not also saying that they're right, because they're going to grill me. They are going to, make me feel stressed out. And basically, I don't want to get stressed out by these kind of questions. So I don't want them to trouble me. It's a trouble for me. So why should I get troubled? Why should I get stressed out? Why should I get worked up? Because they have degrees with them and they have done PhD. So then what happens? I will have a retreat, meaning I will have to retreat back, but I will not accept the retreat. Instead, I'll try to saying like this. Even Tipi may know. I don't say this way. Tatapi may know. This being is not like that. Anya tapi may know. It's not other way also. Whatever you are saying. No tipi may know. It's not what you have understood. No tipi may know iti. That means, and I don't deny what you're saying is also not in one way not correct. So now you're having two ways, right? One way what they have brought in, one way what I'm bringing in. And I say, look, you can see it in many ways. So what you're saying also makes some sense. Absolutely makes wonderful sense. And then I will try to leave it to that rather than worrying over what I should be doing. Right. So it just gets sorted out within there. Okay. This is the third kind of Amara Vikepavada. Okay. Any question so far on this subject? Yes, Aryu.
No, I'm just thinking this teacher, I mean, assume these people would be in a teacher role primarily. I mean, is why they're answering questions like such. But what if this person directly asks, do you know or not know? Like, how would they answer?
They'll again answer in the same way.
I don't say I know.
I don't say I know. I don't say I don't know. I think the way you are putting it is like this. I think the way you are saying is like that. But it can be understood in this way. It can also be understood in that way. So I'm not saying you are totally wrong in asking me, but I don't think so. You're totally right.
Mm.
So let's take an example. Okay. The best to take a live example. Let's say I go to Goenka technique and somebody ask me a straight question. Vilas, tell me, does this Goenka technique helps? How it works? Helps is at least decent. He asked me, does it work? What should I answer? Now, he has put me in a spot. Right? So then, wait. So I had to ask him, which one do you think you have a concern? He says, no, Vilas, I'm listening to your lectures. It's very good. But I don't agree that Goenka technique will not help. I just wanted to know, where do you think it will not help? Because it's helping me. I know what I should answer. Then I had to say, I don't say it like that, like this. Why? Because what he's saying makes sense. He says that I've done 30 retreats. See, I've done only one retreat. Who is senior? He's senior or I'm senior? He's senior. He's done 30 retreats. So he'll ask me, Vilas, how many retreats have you done? 30. Sorry, one. So only 10-day retreat. I say, yes, only one retreat, 10 day. You know how many I have done? I've done 30 retreats. I've done 4 10-day retreats, 2 20-day retreat, and then I've done 3 30-day retreats. I've done one 45-day retreat, and recently I did a 60-day retreat. So I know how this whole thing works. But on your video, you say that whatever you are saying, and then it makes sense. It makes logical sense. But I want to know from you, how did you arrive at this only with one retreat? Okay. Now, what's the possible answer I could give? If I give out of my experience, that would be like this. If I could refer to the sutta and tell him, this is the place where you can find how to do it, and that's it. But then I can ask him, did you experience it this way? So now there is no eel rigging there. I'm ready to answer. So you tell me the sutta, I will explain through the sutta, and then you tell me where you think it works or where do you think it will not work. Then we can address it. Right? So then it becomes a completely third party perspective. There's no holding on to the view. I'm not holding any view. I'm trying to ask that person, this is the sutta where Buddha says how you should practice. Okay, and this is how I've practiced. And I find a difference between how Goenka says and how this sutta says. So let's talk on that. Then it makes much better sense. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think in your case, I mean, you accept to the extent you understand things, you accept to the extent you don't understand, so you can just be straight with that, right? But here, I feel like these teachers, like all these, they start with, I don't truly understand. What is this, right? But still, they're answering questions. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. I mean, on the surface, they're not lying, right? Because they don't tell lie. They use things to,
No, they are
play
not
around.
lying. No, they are not lying.
Yeah,
They are
they're
not
not lying.
deliberate. No, they are not
Yeah.
deliberately lying.
Yeah.
The out of the 3 things, none of them are lying.
Yes, the question I have is, are they kind of, concealing something?
No,
Are they?
they are worried. More than concealing, they are worried because they don't want their reputation to be spoiled. Let's say I'm a teacher with 1,000 students, 1,000 live students, another 20, 30,000 people on YouTube. So, yes, because every video I put close to around 10,000 views every day. And some videos have gone viral, like 300,000, 800,000, 1 million views, and something like that. So, if that is how I have been doing it, then the question comes, do you want to spoil your reputation just for some empty argument of someone? Right? So, he might be logical. He might be asking me a perfect question. And he might be knowing more than me, but is it worthwhile for me to spoil my reputation just for some trivial question? So what I would do is I'm not going to answer to it. But I can't say I can't answer. So I'll have to play around that so that I don't have to be telling lies in any way. So I'm not directly going to answer to any question. He asked if there are multiple views to that. Like, say, example, anicca. Now he says, sir, we believe in impermanence. What do you have to say to it? And the book also says impermanence. At least this is fine. How about anatma, no soul? You can debate for the whole days if you want, whether atma exists or anatma exists or what is Buddha saying, etc., etc. Now, what happens, Ariyu, is that all books say anatma. There's not even one book you will find which will say anatta means no personality, no person. It says no soul. Okay. Now, if I that question is asked to me, now if that person is smart and he would prove atta means one of the meaning of atta is atma, can you refute that? That it's not atma. Now I would say yes, one of the meaning in Pali of atta is atma, but in this context, Buddha doesn't talk anywhere about atma. And he will say, yeah, you also put a lot less on people to understand through Anatta Lakkana Sutta. Now, in that sutta, Buddha is asking, do you have any control? So Atma has control. So since there is no Atma, there is no control. What do you think? I would say, no, it's not like that. It is like the person, there's no person there, which is what it means, right? So it means that if there is no person, means there is no Atma. Because person equals Atma. Whatever you're saying person is nothing but Atma. He holds the view that something exists and that something is nothing but an Atma or a soul. So we don't agree in the soul theory. So Buddha never agreed on soul theory. So it is soul. It's not person or a personality. Right? Till here it is fine. But now it gets heated up. Then what I have to do is something like what he's put there. Even tipi me no tata tipi me no anya tipi ne me no no tipi me no tipi me no iti. Like that. Why? Now let's put it in a proper way. If we were to somebody were to ask me this question, do you mean to say there is Atma? As I don't say it like this. Oh, you mean to say then there is no Atma? No, I don't say it like that. So now you are trying to say that there is Atma as in some time and there's no Atma in other time. And I don't say it otherwise. So you mean to say Atma can decide at one point in time? Then I'll say, I don't say it's not so. It can decide. Now I can ask him a reverse question. Who gets into liberation then? If there were no Atma, no thing, then who gets liberation? So then I'm putting it like that. So then he says, then a person and Atma, are they almost same or are they different or what do you think? And I'll say that I don't deny it's not so. For the point. This is Amara Vikepavada. Yes.
Yeah, but even on this Atma debate, even Buddha would not say this or that, right? So for
Forget the
him to say,
Buddha. No. Forget the Buddha. That is the reason I'm telling you how you'll get caught up in this. See, it's about somebody cornering you, right? You have to understand that. It's all these four are for one who is getting cornered. It's a philosophical argument. It's not an intellectual argument. It's a philosophical argument. That's the reason he says some samana brahmana. I mean, they already know it and they come and refute your claim, your view on this. Yes, go ahead.
I guess, like you said, Buddha will stay silent, right? That doesn't mean his reputation will be blemished.
No, he's not bothered. But in these people case, they are bothered.
Okay.
In all
They still want to, you know, these people care about reputation to the extent they would answer to keep their reputation, even though they don't know.
exactly, they don't know exactly how it is, but then their reputation is at stake because they have, like I said, there is lot of following today in today's um, circle. We see we have social media. So a person can demoralize you on social media by writing some comment, and then you don't know how to respond to it, and then they can make it viral, they can pay money, they can do so many things, right? So your reputation is at stake. So even in Buddha's time also the reputation used to be at stake. So there are so many teachers who had good knowledge. So when they are asked, what do you think? Now you have to give an answer, right? What do you think means you have to give an answer. You can't say, I don't think so, I know what you're saying. Then they have to give something. So you have to understand the context area. That's, these people know it. He also knows it, but he fears that they might corner him. The third thing. Yes.
Yeah, I guess these people, if they're truly responsible person, they should know they may not. It's not the right role for them to take to be here to be a
You're,
teacher because
no, you're going beyond the point, Ari. See, now that guy is a teacher. Like you are a teacher. You are teaching in your Chinese student. So now they put you a question, which you know is a stress for you to answer. Right now, you are saying that those people shouldn't even teach. Let's say that would be too much. So
and for me it's easy. I also say this question I don't understand. Let me ask my teacher.
fair. But let us go through this way. You have 10,000 Chinese people who are desperate to listen to you, right? And comes a gentleman who, in the meeting, puts you in a corner. That is what is here. It's not on one. Even in our group, somebody can ask a question and then it throws open something where I and he are debating, right? It's a stressful thing because I don't know the motive of that person who is asking me question. Otherwise, it will lead into just argument. I say something, he says something, I say something, he says something. Then what happens? Then he would say, you listen, dear people whom you are listening to, this teacher. He doesn't even know what he's talking. What do you think? And then it creates discord. So many of my students will then stop participating. Let's say that is my only way of living. There are people, Ariu, who, who charge for Dhamma, right? And you know it. And it's also done in India. They charge for Dhamma. Let's say somebody is charging $100 per hour. So you're cutting his food chain, right? Ultimately, by asking these questions, he can't answer, he wins, you lose. It's a big stake. If I have 1,000 students and they're paying me $100 a hour and I'm spending on Dhamma for 6-7 hours, they're making 700 grand per day from per student.
Yeah, the one student I have and his the student the teacher that was in my mom's group, he's now charging like $1,000 per hour, almost close to $1,000 per hour in consultation. He's not saying Dhamma, but he's charging a lot.
Yeah.
And he will be promising pretty high.
Yes, absolutely. So now you see, I'm making money and you're cutting my supply. See, for me, anybody coming or not coming is not going to hurt because I'm not charging anything. I don't say, look, you're actually cutting my fuel supply. But in that person's case, you're cutting his fuel supply. Let's say, as you said, $1,000. Even if I were to charge $500 an hour, and I say it is a premium one. So now I can have three categories: premium, okay, standard, another category, and basic. Basic is $50 per hour. Yep. Standard is $200 per hour. But premium, that is one-on-one consultation, is $500 an hour. So if we do something like that, there would be people who are willing to pay. Now comes one guy in a in a group when we are having something like this, and he starts arguing. And he says, look at your teacher. He can't even answer me. What kind of a consultation he is giving you? So even if 5 people paying $500 were to stop coming to me, how much did I lose per day? Right? And in US or in some other places, they're charging per day. It's a per day per hour charge. So they make close to around 300,000 Indian rupees in a month, tax free. And if I have around 30-40 students, good enough. And then I say it's all for donation. So I can have an NGO, the whole money comes there, and then I'll buy land and then say that I'm donating off to trust and I'm doing it. I'll say, fine, it's fair. So he's getting 10 million Indian rupees for this. And for Kuti, for this and that, you put money and make it. And this guy comes and makes this kind of comment. So will that person not do a flip flop? His empire will come to an end. Right? That is how it is. Because you can't lose. Meaning you can't lose the revenue or you can't lose the students or whatever. So it happens. See, let's say there is another teacher, okay, who is referring from the sutta, but he doesn't know so much. So those students shift from that teacher to me. What would happen to him? Discord will start. So he will start talking behind, saying that that teacher to whom you have gone is an idiot, he doesn't know anything, etc., etc. So the bad mouthing will start. All happens because there's something to lose. So he's gaining, but I'm losing. So all my students are going there. And on top of that, they're paying him well. So he had only one house. Now he has 2, 3 houses. Yes, Sarif. Right.
Yeah, I mean, this happened in reality with the group we went to, right? In the Discord group,
Yes.
the person that's head of the group. And there are 2 other groups, which one is the YouTube channel, the other is the teacher that I used to take. Both were bad mouthing so much on him because he's giving for free, and they're losing all their resource. So they
Exactly.
banned the advertisement, banned any talk about it. They've become very harsh, very angry, like that.
Exactly. Because there is something to lose. And when there is something to lose, all of these things will happen. So that person will eventually flip flop on everything. I don't say so. I didn't say so. It's like this and like that because you don't want to spoil your reputation, which makes absolute nonsense to lose. Why should you lose your good old reputation? It's better have a good reputation. Yes.
But it's since they're not telling any lies per se, they're not creating bad karma.
No, they're only creating mana rather than the bad karma. So what they do is it's called as half lies or half truth. So they will not answer it in a proper way. It's not that they don't want to answer. They want to answer, but they don't know. See, they say so from fear and disgust with examination, they avoid stating whether something is skillful or something is unskillful. Whenever they're asked a question, they resort to verbal flip-flop and endless flip-flops. So now you have to understand the context. When he says unskillful, out of 10 immoral are unskillful, there would be something where this person fears that he would be exposed. Because he's also having some immoral thing, right? So he's fearing that this might, like anger, might come out of him. Jealousy might come out of him. Something might come out of him. So he doesn't want anything to come out of him. So what he does, he will start to play safe. Otherwise, it will end up in verbal feuds, right? Which is what has happened in Discord. And the meaning of Discord is only that you keep on fighting. So we entered into Discord, and there's always been Discord. There's no Concord. Yes, Sari.
Yeah, I guess if you're a very straight person, you always answer in a straight way, and then you don't stay away from certain things. Then eventually, the person is capable of saying thing that triggers you, because there is something, it's
Exactly.
not purified.
Exactly. Exactly. That happens. That's very obvious. Yes, Bobby.
Sorry, see, you're saying about this Discord group where you were all attending before, and why they have given that name Discord instead of Concord? It is meant to be a group where meditation and Dhamma is.
No. That is for everything. No? It's for gaming. It's for recreation. It's for technology. It's for everything. The platform is for everything, and you can also use it for Dhamma if you want.
So that's where you and Aryu first
met
meeting, right? Yeah, and why the Discord is not non-harmony, right?
See, harmony. No harmony. So the thing is like this: why the technology forum? Basically, a technology forum is for looking at how better you can deliver things. So you can't be in Concord. You have to be in Discord. You have to be argumentative. But to argue, it's basically a forum for argument. You can choose whichever what we can say room. So and then you join that group, and somebody will introduce you to that group, and then you can. Yeah, I think Aryu is the right person to explain that.
Yeah, I don't have all the context. I wasn't using it extensively, but it's a gaming platform. It started with a gaming platform primarily. It's and then in games, people are always arguing anyways. Oh, you should go here, you should go there. I guess maybe their intention is to bring people eventually to Concord. But if you name it Concord, it sounds probably like an enterprise thing. None of the gaming people want it. So they may decided to make it more fun to call it Discord.
Yes, Bobby, initially when this was started, it was started as a gaming platform. If there are around today, even earlier, if I were to look at Discord, I think there were around 10,000 rooms, meaning so many of the you have channels where you can go and join, and then you can discuss whatever you want. So it's always which is the right way to play the game. It's more for like what he rightly said. And then they started technology forums, so where you can debate on which is the right technology for this kind or that kind. So they can't be anything called as Concord, Bobby, in this. When you're trying to explain which technology is better, how you should be doing it. So there will be forums. So you can join the forum, you can beat them around, and you can say that, you know what, I implemented this and this works this way. Here is my code, and this is how you can run it. And then they say, yeah, this is the best code I've ever seen. And somebody puts his code, makes it even more shorter, and says that, hey guys, I've already done this in a better way. Come have a look. So ultimately, you get the best of it, right? So somebody gives you the best. So you use the best in your product and service. So it has to be Discord and Concord.
So can this logic be applied to discussing Dhamma also? Because I believe Dhamma also been discussed there.
How to make use of this? Pallavi, I couldn't understand what you're trying to say.
Sir, means the types of people in conversation are told, no? So how it is helpful to us to understand? I mean,
so what Buddha says, if there is something philosophical, you don't get into that argument, you just stick to suffering, dukkha. See, Buddha's way of looking at philosophy is not, and he doesn't encourage somebody to keep on discussing on Dhamma topic. He just comes to the point. Do you have dukkha or not? That's the question. That's the exact question. That's the premise of Buddha teaching. So Pallavi, for anybody asking on Buddha Dhamma, if you're talking Buddha Dhamma, then You need to bring that person to the dukkha, the cause of the dukkha, because even that views, holding on to the views is upadana, which means the person is grasping onto that view, means he's suffering from that. So he wants to prove that he's right. But if you're talking from the work, what we do in office and all that, if it is going like this, then you just sit silent. Don't talk anything. Don't have to add your view to it, because they will not be in a position to understand your viewpoint, because they are totally lost into it. So if you still want to do it, there are 4 steps how you can do it. First, bring some data. That's whatever kind of organization we are working, or whatever kind of industry we're working, it doesn't matter. Get the data. Always use data. Don't use personal explanations. Take the data. Show the data, how it is collected and why you think it is like this. Third, interpret the data in such a way that the person can understand what are you trying to say. Fourth, prove that what you have shown is correct. Because now if he has a question or she has a question, they have only on the data, not on you. So you don't have to do a flip-flop. Another thing, I've gone for an interview and they ask me, Vilas, how do you do this project? Go by data. Maybe it might not be of any help to him, but go by data. You can say, I was working on this product or this one, and this is how this many modules or this many features, and etc., etc. So that makes more sense. But then he might end up in not accepting to what you are saying in terms of the data, meaning because his company is not doing that, but he would accept to how you're solving the problem. That would be a better way of putting it, even on our daily working. If we just go verbatim or just talking, then it will be something like that. Because in this case, he is doing verbal. He has no data to put it. So he's struggling. And then he will do the verbal flip-flop. Because he can't say. He can't say how it works. Or he can't say how it doesn't work. So he will either have to agree in one way or the other way and trying to make it better.
Yes, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. So even in our job, we will get through this. It's not that only in the Dhamma we get it. So we should know how to not get into the flip-flop kind of situation. So we need to have data. And not only that, you need to know how to put the data. But they also come with some data. So then you should know how to put the data, how to make sure that what you're showing, everything is on that, not on you. So you are gone. You don't have anything to do with it. So then there would be a nice discussion. Maybe it will go some other way, but it's okay. It's fine.
This Miss, one observation, Miss, when we end up with this argument or this type, many people come to us and start asking trying to put it in the trouble or the difficult questions to answer them. But we don't know the data or something, then we try to show them we know also everything, and then we end up with this flip-flop. This is what Buddha is meaning, correct?
Correct. Absolutely right.
So either we should keep quiet, or we should have a data or we should not think we are superior than them to prove we are better and we know everything. That makes more problem, because
Yes.
whenever somebody come to us and we try to show I am better than, or I know better than you, it's a ego of self making that problem.
Correct. Absolutely right. So it's better we understand our limitation and that person's limitation. That person is also coming up with limitation. So you can't give everything to him to see, because he can't see. So you have to give him something where it makes sense for him. Like I can give one example. Ashwin, from my work. So there was a time when uh, in the PMO, project management office, they had a lot of documentation. So there is one POC project, that is proof of concept. We don't have a real project as such, but it's just a proof of concept. But they wanted to implement, or they said implement everything is there in the checklist. And this person whom I was discussing was frustrated, and uh, the head of R&D was coming from Germany. So I took a permission to meet him. I wanted to tell him that how we can change it, or what's a better way of changing it. So he's not from PMO, but he is from the product. So then I have to show that it affects the product. Forget the PMO thing. They're going to affect the product, but we can't skip the process. So I walked him. He said, I have only 5 minutes, Vilas. I can't give you more than 5 minutes. So I walked him over in just 2-3 minutes, explained to him this. These are required. This is a overkill. This doesn't make sense. Then he told another colleague of mine, look, I want to talk to him. Why don't you extend this meeting and then tell that person to come maybe in half an hour? So he gave me, from 5 minutes, it went to half an hour. I can explain to that person in half an hour. Then I explained to him. Then he said, yeah, this solution. So I explained him the problem. I explained him where it is heading to, and I gave him a solution. I gave him 2 solutions which can be easily implemented. No headache to anyone. Only just change some key items there. And he agreed, out of 2 solutions, he agreed for 1 solution. He said, let me talk to the PMO. So it was a good arrangement. Then after a month, it got approved. So he was happy that yes, you are doing your role properly. We brought in a consultant, and you are supposed to be filling that role, and now you have really filled it when we require it. So you are bringing it from outsider perspective. That's what we want. We don't want like an employee who just do what he wants. So we have taken a consultant for this purpose. So we're absolutely doing exactly what should be done. I said, very good, thank you so much, but it worked. So I need to go with data. I need to know what I'm saying, and I need to know how to put it, and I need to give him solution also. Give not only the problem, I need to come up with solution. I should also say why this solution would work. Then I'm not doing the flip-flop. Otherwise, I have to do exactly the same what is written there, because I have a fear that they might just tell that I'm not the right person. And I'm a consultant. That means I'm paid much more than an employee in real terms. And then I don't have many of the bindings what an employee has. So I stand more better ground than an employee. So they would be thinking about, oh, we brought a specialist, and that specialist is equivalent to an employee or below than an employee. So it won't create problems. So when there is something, I need to know the subject perfectly. Otherwise, Ashwin, like you said, I need to just be silent because I don't have the data to prove anything. So it's no point in opening up the bag and not knowing what to do with it. So in any case, we will be doing this, whether spiritual or otherwise, we will be doing this. This applies everywhere, even with family. Yeah, Ashwin, go ahead.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thanks.
So shall we move to the 4th one then? Okay. The 4th one is superb one. There are 10 things which Pachagoch asked. Okay. Here he talks about some of from the Michaditti. Okay. Some of them are from Michaditti, the 10 michaditi, which is there in 10 immoral deeds. And this person is ando. Anda means like correctly put there, dull. Momuho means it's not stupid actually. One is fully deluded. Moha is delusion. Momuho means completely deluded, meaning he's in darkness. He can't understand whatever you say. Okay. So if you ask him, is there this word? He would say, I believe that's the case. I would say so. And so he again gives all those. Eventipi meno, tatapi meno, anya tapi meno, no tipi meno, no tipi meno iti. So whether both exist, one exists, like that, he keeps on. Upapattika, then sukha dukkata kammam phalam vipako, then tatagato hoti param marana, na hoti tatagato param marana, hoti cha na hoti tatagato param marana, neva hoti na hoti tatagato param marana iti che mam puchasi. So then he will say, I didn't say like this, I don't say like that, I don't like that. So this is how the person would be, because he is the first person. The third one is a smart guy, but he can't answer it properly. The fourth person is a dull-witted person and is in complete delusion. So you can't get any answer from that person. Yeah. This is how Amara Vikepavada comes in existence. But we end that there. Then we can go to the next one. Aditya Samutpannavada. Aditya means just by chance. It has arisen by chance. Okay. Aditya Samutpannavada. Vada here is doctrine. Not argument, it's doctrine. So Aditya Samutpannavada is a doctrine, that how it works. So he says here, what are the two grounds on which they rely? Santi bhikkave asanyasatta nama deva sanyuppada cha panate deva tamha kaya chavanti. And since they go to anagarika, they become anagarisma, anagariyam, abbajjati. So they go in search of their existence. How did they come to be? Abbajjatos tamano atappa manvaya padhana manvaya anuyoga manvaya appamadam anvaya samma manasi karam manvaya tatha rupam cheto samadam pussati yata samahite chitte sanyuppadam anussarati tato param nanussarati. That means they put their right effort, they are able to establish the mind in a proper way, and they can know how it happened. They see aditya samutpanno atta cha loka cha. Because now I am seeing, now I am perceiving that what happened is just by chance, because now I see I was not at all there, and now I am there. So it just came to be. And that's exactly what he is putting here. Ahan hi pubbe nahosmim tom hi yetarhi ahutva santataya parinyato iti. Because I did not exist earlier, now I have come into this existence. So, and hence I know for myself that the loka, the world, and me, that is I, have happened by chance. So whatever works and whatever is not working is happening by chance. Because from the beginning, I've seen it that way. I did all meditation and I was able to see it. It's indeed true that it happened by chance. Why? Because he was in asanya satta loka, no perception. So we need to go in detail about what is perception, that we understand. Perceiving means act of knowing. Yep. First and foremost, we need to have clarity on what is perception. That's the reason Buddha used the word sanjanati. Okay, that's perception again. Sanjanati means janati is to know. Sanjanati is to completely know that object. So we know the object. We identify the object. Now, asanya satta is a being who doesn't have the ability to know anything of the object. How it happened? Because by their own meditative attainments, they were able to establish in asanya satta loka, where there is no perception of any kind. The mind, the chitta, exists without perception. So chitta, mano, manasam onwards is not there. So they can't perceive. It's just chitta and mano. Yes, Harry.
I guess it's some kind of samadhi, but it's not. It doesn't fall on this line of the 8 jhanas. It's somewhere they got into this non-perceptive
It's not like that.
state.
Out of 31 realms of existence, one of the realm is asanya satta. Okay. The mind drops perception. It should have dropped both perception and the feeling to get nirodha samapatti, but it just dropped perception and kept the feeling. So it feels, but there's no perception. And that's the state of that existence. So we need to understand it in that way, in a proper perspective. It's not that the being doesn't exist. It exists without perception.
In this case, if they were able to recollect their state in that where there's no perception, would they know there was feeling? And they would
Yes,
know.
they know the feeling, but they can't perceive what the feeling is.
So to them, it's almost as good as non-existence because they cannot.
Exactly. So that's the reason they're saying non-existence. It just happened by chance. So let's understand what it is in a very nice thing. Are you assuming that you never know or cannot recognize Golden Gate Bridge? But you feel something is there. How that would be? That's exactly what it is. You got the point? See, you are in Sleeper Avenue. That's a perception, right? You're perceiving the Sleeper Avenue. So when you drive from San Francisco to Sleeper Avenue, you are not asking anyone. because you're able to perceive it whether through Google Map or Apple Maps or whatever it is, or car able to take you there. You get down and you go to your house and things are good. Let's say somebody has dementia. When the cells start dying in the brain, their perception is completely gone.
Is it something like you drunk alcohol and you are just doing something, but you don't know next day what is happened?
That is also
It's not too
almost
much.
okay, but it's all about perception. You can't perceive anything. You can feel, but there's no perception. Yes.
And I guess part of my original question is that it's like a meditative, it's not easy for normal people to get into that. It requires some skill to even get into that kind
It
of.
is meditation only, that is what he has put there. So it's not an, but for a normal way, I'm just telling you that. Otherwise, it's a meditative state.
Yeah, it takes some skill to get in, develop that kind of meditation to be in that state.
Exactly. So that is in the 31 realms. Asanya Satta is one of the realms. And they can go back to that realm and they can see like that. And hence they say it came by chance because they didn't have any perception. See, to go to the Neva Sanyana, Sanyayatana, you require perception. If there were no perception in the Chitta, it can't know anything. And then the Sanya Vedata Nirodha, you have to cut the perception and the feeling together. That's Nirodha Samapatti. Got it? Now, how do I do it? Is just cut the name and form consciousness, and that's it. Feel the perception is gone along with the feeling. That's the practice we need to do. Here, what has happened is while he's doing it, that is, the consciousness departs this body and lands in Asanya Satta. There's no perception of anything, of any kind, because he's practiced it Sanya, Vedayita Nirodha. In that, Sanya Nirodha has happened, but the Vedayita Nirodha is not happened. He is able to block the Sanya perception happening in the mind through his meditative attainment. He can't find out. So I gave a simple example just to make it sound natural in terms of how we can see in our worldly thing also. Like a dementia patient who can't remember anything. Because to remember, you require perception. When you don't have perception, you can't remember anything. See, if you don't symbolize, how will you go back? See, it's like your house or Ashwin's house or my house or anybody's house is a perception. You're going back to that place because you perceive it. Assuming there's no perception, then what happens? You don't know which house to go now. So you entering into your house is a by chance only now, right? Like that. Just see it, how it works. You require perception. Without perception, you can't do anything. You require perception. Anyway, good. So then the last one, second one. So tata pariya hatam vimamsa. Now this we had covered in earlier sections also. It is by logic, by reasoning, by inquiry. All the three he will use. Logic, reasoning, inquiry. And they come up with a statement that is like this. It's a very nice one. It looks very logical. Will the loka come first or the perception comes first? And the answer is the loka comes first, and then the perception. How does a loka come to be? The loka comes to be when the right conditions come into existence. And then you start perceiving the loka. That means if you were to come into the human body and you get out of the body, and then your parents tell you, show you everything, then you perceive the world. Yes or no? All of us, when we came out of the womb, never knew the world. We are introduced to the world, isn't it or not? So, isn't the perception come by chance because it was explained to you? And the world also came by chance because you see, this world came to you, came after you start existing. That is the logic. Yes.
That's the primary view today, right?
Yes. That's the primary view. Because that is how you're introduced. Our parents introduced the world for us, and that is real world for us, right? If you're an American, you're introduced to being an American. If you're an Indian, you're introduced to be an Indian. If you're an Australian, you're introduced as an Australian. So then the perception arises. And that because it happened by chance. Because I was born in that family, I being an American happened by chance. Right? Yes. Did I make a choice? You see this question. Did I make a choice? And the answer is no. Nobody made any choice to be born in this country or that country. I can see by my logic, by my reasoning and inquiry that indeed it happened by chance. Yes.
Yeah, they would explain the consciousness as like emerging from the order, like because they see these crystals have their own way of, organizing in the same shape. So when there's enough of that, then consciousness emerge from that.
Exactly. So it was not percipient. Now it is becoming percipient. And since it was not percipient, and now it has become percipient, it happened by chance. So see, you just ask this question to yourself. Did you choose your parents? And the answer is no. Did they choose you? And the answer is no. It just happened by chance. Now we can say, yeah, the karma was there. All that is fine. But if you really see what's the role of karma in you, I don't believe in that. It looks stupid that I made a choice. I don't even know they are my parent when I'm born, right? I've been introduced to them as a parent. And from day one, I start, and since I'm seeing them all the time, and they told me as a child, they told me, they put a name, Vilas, this like this, daddy, daddy, daddy. So you're giving a perception. You're teaching that child a perception. He's my dad. She's my mom. Oh, like that. And then you ask, who is this? Who is this? Tell, who is this? And the child will look at it, say, Mommy. Ah, good, good, very nice. Who is she? Mommy. But that's perception. That's taught perception, right? It didn't feel mother from day one. In fact, if the nurse were to feed the child for 6 months, it considers that nurse to be its mother, not the real mother. Simple. And if the nurse were to breastfeed that child, let's say, it's even more worse because then it is its own mother. That happens. And if it is introduced to the real mother, it will not accept. It says, no, my mother is there. You are not my mother. Because it's perception. Now, if you were to ask a question, Did it happen by chance? And the answer is yes. 100% yes. It has logic, it has reason, it has inquiry. So the world came to me after I was born. That's true. Who says no? What the point? Now we are going into the deepest of the Dhamma. Aparantaka kappika. Aparanta. Paranta. Para. Other. Aparanta. Complete other side of it, which is the future. Aparanta kappika. Kappa is eon. Aparanta kappika vada. Yep. Should we take this tomorrow? There's 40 views and it's huge. Any questions, anything else to discuss before we end for today? Because most of the people have holiday today. If you want to discuss on some other thing related to this, we can do that. So whatever we have covered so far in EN1, Brahmajala Sutta. All good? Should we end then? Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow, same time, 8:30. Yes, Ashwin, you had something?
Yeah, just I'm thinking why this complex sutta has Buddha has given to everybody. That's what I'm thinking. Brahmajal. What is what is the logic? And it's just a giving perspective. One perspective is
No.
Brahma 31 planes. Okay, that's important. Where you need to go, that is good. And then this vad means it's like argument things after immediately after the plane's existence, and that one given by that sequence.
Okay, so now it's like this. Buddha Dhamma, two things we need to understand. One is Mula Paryaya Sutta, root of all things. MN1. That's the next one we are going to take after this. If you are claiming that you know Buddha Dhamma, you should know EN1, MN1. That's a starting point. We have not taken all of these earlier because it's very difficult to understand. So we've taken initially some suttas where we get into some Dhamma and then go to the real one. The real one is this, Brahmajala Sutta. So why it is named Brahmajala? Brahma is the starting point for everyone. Whichever being it is, Brahma is the starting point. So the 16 Brahma realms, out of that 11 Brahma realms is the starting point. And Jala means net. Because you start from somewhere and you get stuck with that view that this is what I see and this is what is real. So you can't come out of that net of views. Okay. This is one. Second one, Mula Paryaya Sutta, where even Nibbana is also covered, and he says anybody holding on to the view of Nibbana is also a mad person. So if you were to analyze Buddha teaching, it is MN1, Mula Paryaya Sutta, and DN1, Brahmajala Sutta. You know these two sutta, you have understood entirety of length and breadth of Buddha Dhamma. And you should be master of both MN1, DN1. But master means you know everything about it. You know how it works, why it works that way, why Buddha says is this way, why not some other way, or DN1. And MN1, when we go from Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo like that, we need to know why it is like that. That means we have understood Dhatu, Aitana, Khanda, Patisamutpada, all the four. And one who knows all the four can claim to be a true Buddha follower. Because he not only has Pariyatti, which is theory, Patipatti is understood, Pativedan is experienced. All the three are there. So only these two suttas actually are the most important one. And for practice is the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, Maharahulavada Sutta, and then Chula Kamma Sutta, Mahakamma Vipaka Sutta, Chula Kamma Vipaka Sutta, and then like that. And Pena Pindupa. So we can have some suttas around these two subjects or these two most important topic of Buddha Dhamma. And then we can see, we can have a roadmap now. We can have a stairs from Uttujana to Arhat. We can have a stairs. And through this, you can know the seven things, which is Nibiddhaya, Viragaya, Nirodhaya, Upasamaya, Abhinyaya, Sambodhaya, Nibbanaya. So these seven things can be easily seen. It can be understood. So your question is appropriate, Ashwin. This is the most important because that's the starting point of everyone coming into existence. So we come into existence from the Brahma realm. Abhasara is again a Brahma realm. So we come from the Brahma realm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Veena, Mrutyunjaya, or anyone like to have any questions? Because you are from the other group in Canada. So if you have any questions, then we don't have to cover it again in that place.
Better you cover in Kannada only, sir.
that will become a pain for me.
Yeah, we can't understand fully in English, sir. We will not get grip also.
Okay. So shall we end then?